Hey there, welcome to the UkeStuff channel and welcome to this full UkeGuide review of this instrument. This is the Flight NUC310 Concert Ukulele, available from flight dealers worldwide. Now, just as a disclosure, I do some part-time work with Flight. However, this instrument was not sent to me for review, and I did not buy it from Flight or a dealer. It was on an auction site that I bought pretty inexpensively. So it is a secondhand instrument that I purchased. So this is not being marked as a sponsored ad, but I do want you to be aware that I do work with Flight and do like the company. So I'm just making sure that I'm being upfront about that with this review. Now, just so you know what we're going to do in this video, first of all, we'll look at subjective categories that we do with every instrument. Then we'll go over the specifications, and then finally I'll summarize it and give it a UkeGuide rating out of 5 possible ukuleles. If you want to see a one-page summary of this entire video, you can do so at UkeStuff.info. Just go to the UkeGuide page and scroll down to this instrument, which would be the Flight NUC310, and you can just click on it and download it there. It's a PDF, one-page summary of everything I'm going to say. Now, if you want to support the work of the channel here, there are 3 things you can do. You can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, and third, you can always buy me a cup of coffee to say thank you for making this material at buymeacoffee.com/UkeStuff. All right, so let's begin with the subjective categories of this instrument. First of all, the price. They currently list 2023 at $99, although I have found them online a little bit less than that, so $99 is the going rate. If you get it with the kit, it's a little more expensive, and they are available at flight dealers worldwide, so this is a very, very common instrument. I would not be surprised if this might be one of Flight's best sellers across the world. Concert scale, lower priced, high quality laminate ukulele seems like that would be a really good price point. I'm sure the travel ukuleles are the best seller. I don't know actual numbers. I don't look at any of that stuff with the work that I do with Flight, but I would guess that this is up there in terms of top sellers. In terms of value, I think you're getting slightly better than the value. The value exceeds the price. Now, not only do you get the ukulele, you also get the gig bag that comes with it. And up until recently, Flight was one of the rare companies that's a major producer of ukuleles that included a gig bag with every instrument. The other companies are now starting to catch up with that. And of course, there are Amazon brands that sell their instruments not only with a case, some with better cases today, to be quite honest, for less money. So yeah, you can go on Amazon and buy a cheaper ukulele. But I will tell you, as we look at this later and as we do the camera look inside and everything, I think you'll see you are getting what you pay for with a Flight in terms of this construction here. So we'll talk about that as we go. So the value does exceed the price, but it's not a tremendous bargain, but it's still good value for your money. I'll just say it that way. Now, in terms of build quality, it is really a flawless build. Now, you can see the joint where that occurs. You can see the joint in the neck. I've talked with some people that do not like the fact that the edge isn't found and that you can see the laminate on the side. But again, then Flight isn't hiding the fact that it's laminate. And not everybody likes binding either. So, you know, all things for all people. But other than that, the build overall is very good. This one, I believe, is the black walnut fretboard and the black walnut bridge, and they may have switched back to rosewood at this point. There was a time where there was a restriction on hardwoods, particularly rosewood, in the United States and importing and so forth and everything. So all the companies went to walnut for a while, which it works great. It just isn't quite as pretty without that dark black ebony, you know, sort of color. Now, you could stain black walnut, but people weren't trying to hide that either and trying to go for the natural grain pattern, which is quite nice. It is nice to see the grain there. Probably at this point in due of an oiling. Also, I should just say that there are some sharper fret ends at the bottom at this point, which also is not surprising. That can be common with all laminates at this price point. And I don't know if it came that way. I don't know how exactly old this instrument is because, again, I am for sure at least the second owner, if not more, having bought it at an auction site. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the inside of the ukulele. So I use an endoscope, has a light on it, to look at the inside of the ukulele. I have called this the internal Uke Cam for a while. Nothing special about it. It's just an endoscope that records to a separate recorder, and then I sync those videos later without audio. So that's the only tricky part about it. So let's take a look inside and see what we see. As we look at the back, and I'm behind a brace there, you can see the high quality laminate. You can see when it's not. It's a high quality laminate. You can see that it has a tail block. You can see the bridge support there. You can see the vertical bracing, which looks to be sort of in a fan shape possibly. You can see the screws that hold the bridge down, but also, are pins so they know where it goes. And you can also see, if I can get over that bump again, the notch kerfing back there, which is nicely done. Not a lot of glue, a little bit here and there, but overall a very traditionally cleanly built ukulele out of higher quality laminate. Now let's look at the upper bout. Again, I don't have a whole lot of room here, so I'll do my best. There is the neck block. There is the notch kerfing. Very little glue mess. Nice clean build all the way around. Very well put together in a traditional way. And that's our quick look at the Flight NUC310 on the inside of the ukulele. So I think the build quality here is very high, and no, I'm not biased just because I do work with Flight. I've looked at a lot of ukuleles, and that's really well built in there. Now, in terms of appearance, again, I've had some people complain to me about the unfinished laminate edge. Doesn't bother me at all, but I can see people that are bothered by that and would want binding. But then there are step-up ukuleles in Flight's line if that's what you want from Flight. That's what you get at this price point, which is, again, pretty affordable for a quality instrument. Yeah, you can find Amazon specials for lower pretty consistently in that $60 to $75 range, but I think you do get a step up in materials and craftsmanship when you jump up to that next level. So with that in mind, the other thing that people may or may not like is the etching on the front, the laser etching. To be fully honest, it's not my thing. Would it keep me from buying this instrument? Probably not, but I would prefer something else. I'm not sure what. I'm not sure I'd want it plain. I'm not sure I'd want a abalone rosette or something like that, or a different etched pattern. I don't know. I don't know what I'd want there, but I do know that that isn't specifically my thing. Now, I did want to cut away for a second to another Flight in the series. This is the NUB310, which is very similar to the Concert. It's constructed a little bit better. I believe this one has X bracing. I've done a full review of this instrument, and this one was sent to me for testing purposes. Actually, Flight sent it to me to do some tests with it. So I'm not marking this video again as a sponsored video, but I'm just using this as a comparison. So different etching around the sound hole than the Concert, but they also included that sort of deer or that stag on the top there, whereas the Flight Concert doesn't have it at all, and I kind of like that. I kind of like it without the extra deer up there. So I just wanted to point that out as well. And then notice the headstock differences between the NUB 310 and the NUC310. The NUB is baritone. Flight uses the crown headstock on the Concert, but sort of a flattened headstock on the baritone. Just kind of interesting to notice. Other than that etching, it's a pretty plain ukulele in sort of that modern finish. It's not that antique finish, it's sort of that modern sapele sort of finish. So it's got that nice stripy look, and you get sort of the diamond patterns where it was bent on the sides and things like that. Now, in terms of availability, readily available throughout the world. All you got to do is order it, and you'll have one soon. Now, in terms of playability, you've got two things going on here. First of all, you do have a 35mm nut with a C-shaped neck, which is pretty standard, so people with large hands may not like it. Pretty standard string spacing. But the setup here is pretty good. I haven't messed with it, and I would doubt anybody else has either. So I'm pretty pleased with the playability of it out of the box for a 35mm nut ukulele, which is what I'm pretty much used to as I play concerts all the time. So I'm okay with it, but again, if you have giant hands, you may not like it. If you want really low action, this is not going to be the instrument for you out of the box. You're going to have it set up, but otherwise, 100% playable. And again, I was not sent this from Flight. I was not sent this from Flight's distributor or anything like that. Just bought it secondhand on an auction site. Okay, in terms of sound quality, I think it's a really good sounding laminate. Are there better sounding laminates? Sure, I will say that. The Kawaias are unbelievable sounding laminate instruments. The laminate line, their solid woods are amazing too. Kiwaya, yeah, is going to be better than this. But I don't think you'll find many laminates in the sub $200 price point other than Kiwaya that are going to sound better than this. So again, overall, nice sound, nice balanced sound, warm. Not many overtones popping out at the moment. Now, I will say that I would personally try fluorocarbon strings on it. I like fluorocarbon strings. That's me. I'm guilty. Although I found a couple instruments where fluorocarbon strings do not work so well. Not such a fan of fluorocarbon strings on a spruce instrument, just as a side note. But generally, on most instruments of darker tone woods and so forth, or medium tone woods, fluorocarbon strings are what I go to. I like how they feel. I like how they sound. These are Aquila strings, and they work fine. They're great. I would have no complaints about this. But if you want a little more sparkle in your sound, I'd try fluorocarbon. That's what I would just suggest in that. But other than that, it's really a good sound. The volume is good. It's got a good volume, and it tends to be a real balanced sound overall. So there is some brightness there, which is why I think I'd be okay leaving the strings on too. But I think it could ring even more with other strings as well. Maybe some more harmonics would pop out. Now, one of the things I do in these videos is I let you see what I'm hearing using the app Tonal Energy Tuner. So what I'm going to do is open Tonal Energy Tuner on my iPad. I'm going to play the C chord, which is one of the most open chords you can play on GC ukulele, and let you see what's happening with the Harmonic Energy series. Couple notes, you can see that it is recording a very wide spectrum of sound when I play, so it is hearing that sort of, what I'm hearing is a full sound, but I would also want to add that I think it is actually ringing longer than Tonal Energy Tuner is picking up as well. So it's sustaining 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's sustaining about 6 seconds with a strum, and I think fluorocarbon strings would even bring that a longer ring there as well. All right, now that we've talked about the subjective categories for this instrument, let's get into the specifications. It is a concert scale instrument, and it has a measured scale length of 15 inches from neck to saddle. It has 18 frets with 14 to the body, and it has side position markers at 5, 7, 10, 12, 15, and 17, way up there. Should you be playing way, 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 way up there at that part of the fretboard. The body style is a double bout ukulele with an engraved laser rosette. The soundboard is laminate sapele, as are the back and sides. The fretboard is walnut, and it is not a radius fretboard. The bridge here is also walnut and is a tie bar bridge. On current models, these may now be rosewood, not sure. Let's see, continuing on, it has a bone nut and saddle. The saddle is not compensated here, and the finish is just a satin finish, pretty standard. The ukulele is 23.875 inches long from tip to tail, not counting the strap button that's included, and it weighs 1 pound, 0.1 ounces, so it's actually pretty light. There are open geared tuners that work just great. The action at the first fret is less than 0.5 millimeters, and the action at the 12th fret is 2.65 millimeters, actually a little bit lower than that. So it's really close to 2.5. Very, very playable, very, very comfortable, with the exception of some sharp fret ends. If you were using that 17th side position marker to play up there, you might feel those sharper frets. Quick enough to take care of with a sanding sponge in just a couple seconds, and something that I'll do later, but just something that I'm noting. The nut width is almost 35 millimeters, 34.77 millimeters, so pretty standard for a 35 millimeter nut. And the space of the strings, between the strings at the first fret, is 9.02 millimeters, leading to 28.94 millimeters G to A, which is pretty standard for a 35 millimeter nut. Now, the neck is a C-shaped neck, but anyway, the depth of the neck at the third fret, going from the top of the third fret from the top of the strings to the bottom of the neck, is 21.55, which is on the thicker side, but thankfully the C shape does taper down quickly, so it doesn't feel quite as chunky in your hand, but it still is a pretty thick neck. So I would love to see that profile get changed a little bit, and probably is my greatest criticism of this instrument, other than just that etching is just not my thing, and that's okay, because I know a lot of people love that. It's just not my thing, but it also wouldn't keep me from buying the ukulele. All right, now that we've talked about the specifications of the instrument, let me summarize and then give it an UkeGuide rating. So, first of all, as again a disclaimer, I do some part-time work with Flight, but I bought this one on a secondhand auction site. So with that said, so you know that I do have connections with Flight, I would guess that this is one of Flight's best-selling instruments. Again, I bet their travel series are the best, but I would bet that this is up there. It's affordable and it's really well made and it sounds good. It also plays really well. So, and with all that said, it also comes from an established manufacturer. You're not playing the guessing game with something from Amazon, like, is it good? Is it not good? You see the name Flight now, and it's established enough as a company that's going to make good products that you buy with confidence, just as if it said Ohana or Kala or whatever. Now, not all the design options may appeal to you. You may not like that laminate edge showing or that particular rosette. That's okay. If not the instrument for you. There's others in Flight lines or other companies as well. There is also a kit version of this. So if you're interested, the kit comes along with a tune or two. So with the gig bag, which is just a fine gig bag. There are better gig bags on the market now, but there was a point where this was class leading, with especially with a major manufacturer. Yeah, it's a pretty good deal. You're getting your value for the price. In fact, a little better. You're getting a better value than the price with this instrument still in 2023. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. What rating would I give it? For me, it's a 4 out of 5. Is it perfect? No. Is it 100% passable and a good purchase for a beginner? Is it good value? Does it play well? Does it sound good? Yeah, those are all positives for me. All right, that's it. Thanks so much for joining me for this video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.